Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I am your host, Daniel, and I am joined today by Alex and Garrett.
Hello.
And we are talking about somewhat of a niche theme. This is another one of our Lego deep dive videos, technically. But the interesting thing about
I see
this...
what you did there.
Technic, yes. What is going to be interesting is that these are themes that are basically part of the Road to Bionicle. This is the predecessors sort of trying out some new concepts, some new themes. They basically started out as a sub-theme of Technic. These are RoboRiders, Throwbots, and Slicers is basically what we're going to be talking about today. So,
we're finally talking about it.
Yes,
so
the video you've all been waiting for. That's right.
Wanted it.
But I think this one's going to be
for
good
this.
with Bionicle fans because they have a certain deference and maybe admiration for these themes as kind of the starting off point.
And even if you're not into
Bionicle.
Bionicle, this is a very weird point of Lego's history when they were trying a lot of new things. And I would say if you don't know anything about RoboRiders or Throwbots/Slicers, you're going to see Lego pieces you've never seen before.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
A lot of new
weird
molds.
stuff.
A lot of new molds, for sure. And this was getting into the time period where Lego was not doing so well, but Bionicle was what ended up saving it. So in that sense, this was all justified. So before we can even talk about Slicers and Throwbots, the predecessor to that, the concept art was for something called Cybots. So who wants to tell us about what Cybots was?
Alex, I think
I
you
would
take the
love
reins
to
on this.
talk about Cybots. So, I mean, really, the mind behind all this was Christian Faber. He, saw Lego and was like, I would love to make action figures out of this. How can I make that happen? So he got with a friend. They got with Lego. This was the idea that he pitched was Cybots. Kind of basically the concept of it is that you have human cyborgs that they send below the surface of the earth to gather energy crystals. This might sound familiar.
Energy crystals is something that
Energy
comes back
crystals.
time and time again with
Lego
Lego.
loves crystals.
It's the best way to get energy from crystals in
But
the earth.
basically they rebel and they take over under the earth. But it was basically like you had some like human kind of like parts of the cyborgs. They're all robots.
Basically nightmarish Cronenberg monsters.
We'll show some pictures
is really what
the
it
concept.
is.
So this was only concept. Lego did like the idea though. They were testing it out. I know Christian Faber said that he used like clay parts with the Technic that they had.
It was a
at
lot
the
of
time.
custom molded elements, but still like integrating it into Lego system and stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because
So-
I've seen pictures where it's like the entire torso is made out of bricks and system, and they have like Technic beams to attach the arms.
yeah, it's really interesting.
It's basically a horrifying crossover of like Galador and Belleville.
That's a good way to put it.
But clearly they liked the concept, I would assume.
I mean, this is where it all began. This was about 1995 when all this was starting to happen. And this is where they created they were testing the first Lego ball joints. And Christian Faber's mentioned in blog posts that he was really looking at nature, so probably like the human body of how this works on, and basically made it into Lego form. So this is where we're seeing that kind of design happening for the first time, a new system within Lego. So.
Yeah, Christian Faber, one of his best strong suits has always been taking inspiration from the real world and nature, and then just really developing the lore and the storytelling aspect to support a toy line. So pretty amazing there. Anything else we want to talk about Cybots?
I think it is interesting that there is that kind of story and lore, even with Cybots, as like Christian Faber was developing this kind of concept and idea. Even then, like he comes in with this incredible story that really became Rock Raiders, but with people.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. That would have been around the right timing for that as well. Yeah. So interesting there how that kind of split off then, really. The concept of the construction went in the direction of Slicers and Throwbots, where the story or lore aspect kind of seems like got maybe repurposed for Rock Raiders.
Really interesting.
Yeah, very curious. All right, so then without further ado, we will move on to Throwbots and Slicers. So these two were always grouped together with these names, and I believe that was a regional difference in the name. Is that correct?
The North American name is Throwbots.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
The rest of the world is Slicers.
Good to know. Good to know. And was there any information about why that was? Was it a classic case of Americans need to be told that they're made to throw things? They understand.
As far as I know, everything that I know about it and all the information I've been able to find is that it mainly is just a regional difference and basically what tested better.
Yeah.
And then kind of we'll talk about like a name real quick. Kind of, hey, The red guy is Torch. He's the fire guy.
Right, yeah. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Elements pop up.
But there were some fascinating things with this. So what kind of sets did we get out of Slicers and Throwbots that we want to talk about?
Yeah, so there were 2 waves, so we should probably focus in on those waves. The first wave, the one that started it all for it, they came in these canisters right here that you can see with different colors by element, really. And again, like Garrett said, like the fire one in North America known as fire, but Europe known as torch. So they had cooler names in Europe. And basically, you know, they're different characters. Do we want to get into the lore on this at this point?
I think we need to, because it is so odd and so just... It is the building blocks of what the Lego Group was going to do.
Buckle your seatbelts. This video is about to be 9 hours long. The Throwbots, the whole lore video.
No, so pretty much all Throwbots lore is, to simplify it, because it is extremely simple, there is a planet called Planet Slicer that is divided into 8 separate sections. The planet was split. Each region had a Slicer/Throwbot guardian who protected that elemental region. Yeah. But then at the North Pole, there was a big battle dome that all the Slicers would go to battle out and you know, settle disputes and all that.
There is one of the discs with this on it, right? With a picture of
there is. Unfortunately, I don't think we have that disc at the moment. Yeah. But it is a one of the Throwbot discs. All the Throwbot discs are printed. They're different colors. Really cool. Some are glow in the dark. They have different power levels. That's a whole thing.
It's a cool disc, though. It looks like it reminds me of the arena from the second Hunger Games movie. How it was like divided up in all the different segments.
The planet is divided. There's the big Slicer dome, and that's pretty much all there is to Slicers.
Yeah, the battle dome is crazy.
They fight each other. They fight elemental creatures in their respective regions.
Yeah.
They look for energy discs to power up and get stronger, and that's pretty much what Slicers is.
There were 2 factions, right? Like half were good, half were considered bad factions.
Okay.
And that's where you would get a lot of these battles in the dome, right?
Yeah.
And everything. So
that's fantastic.
Really interesting. You know, good versus bad.
And so, you know, that's pretty much all the story, all the context you need for Throwbots. Really, that's all there much is to it. I think we should go over some of these sets and look at, you know,
what are some of your favorites?
How did this? So I kind of want to start with, you know, everybody. We gotta have a red guy, and any team lineup, especially Lego Contraction stuff.
Oh, for sure.
This is Torch, or what was his other name?
Oh, just Fire.
Fire, yeah.
It's a bit
Torch or Fire.
Torch or Fire.
So they were both, they're both on the nose.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I've got that. There we go. Those are the European names. But so he's a weird one because he's like built upside down.
Yeah, that's interesting. So a lot of them operated around this system with basically a large gear and then like a worm gear.
So there is like
one rotate around.
Large, what is that, like a 32 tooth gear?
Yeah, the big one.
And then it has a worm gear on the inside. And then all of the Throwbot Slicers also have these tiny gears. Mm-hmm. And they're all in cool colors. So that's something that we've talked about.
Really nice. Yeah.
You get teal, you get red, yellow, green.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
That's one of the best things I think that came out of this from like people who like to collect parts in weird colors was all of the standard gears in all 3 different sizes. Pretty much all the interesting colors they come in are from Throwbots.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
But all the Throwbots have a gear function.
Yes.
It's not quite as cool as like a Bionicle gear function.
Well, again, which makes sense. It was a sub-theme of Technic. There was a Technic aspect to it.
The first really try at it, and you can slowly turn these gears and make them like arch.
Yeah, it's certainly much more primitive compared to the swinging arms of the Bionicle, which was a little more chaotic.
It's very strange.
Yeah, it's more of a posing thing than like an action thing.
And then the other big thing with Throwbots is
this is the action feature.
They're throwing arms. Yeah. This is the whole reason for the name.
Yeah.
All the discs, these are the same mold as Bionicle Kanohi discs. Mm-hmm. So if you are familiar with those, that's the exact same thing, just different printing.
Right. The identifier for this would be, I assume that they all say Lego Technic and then have those dots on them.
Mm-hmm. Dots, all the discs, they go from 1 to 8.
Yeah.
But the
was it? Now, which one is it that has?
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about that.
later. There's not a 1-pip version, and in the first wave, there's not an 8-pip version, or there's not it's 1 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not a 7 or 1.
Gotcha.
But so anyway, you would slide your disc into throwing arm.
Sling that disc.
And then you would pull it back, and
That's pretty
That's
good.
a good
They
distance.
throw.
Yeah.
They're
you
lightweight. They work like a frisbee.
Yeah.
They just kind of glide.
You could throw them at the other bots. You could throw them into the canisters as like a target practice.
Yeah.
That's probably that is the best feature of any of these Throwbot sets.
Now, in terms of the
That's so
actual
fun.
like play feature, like between say you and your friends, do you think the goal, like, do you think the discs would actually be able to like knock over other Throwbots? I mean, the discs are pretty lightweight. I guess it might depend
They're
on
not
how
very
they're
stable on
how
their
they're
feet.
I was about to
They're very
say,
small,
they
so
don't
easy to knock
have
down.
Maybe
great,
you could knock them over.
I think you could.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a game aspect in that.
I'm not
sense.
sure.
Like it's like say like Ninjago or something. Have
Sure.
the spinners, like the goal was to knock
It could
like
also,
the weapons out of their hand.
you know, if I had some of these when I was a kid, I would have done it like a Pokemon battle. I'd have been like, oh well, my disc has 6 pips and yours has 2.
Yeah, was there any? So we talked about the pips. Was there any guideline on how to use those? Was there a game aspect to this?
That's literally just indicating the power level, like how much power the.
So it was
Throwbot can
whatever
gain
you wanted
from
to
that.
make. It was whatever you
Yeah.
wanted to make of it.
There was a whole goal with the disc. You
Mhm.
wanted to get to a level 7 disc. You had to
Uh-huh.
kind of like work your way up in your like elemental zone.
Okay.
Because the power source was always the level 7 one, and we actually have one that's pretty rare.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
City, is
This
the
one?
name of the
The Throwbot.
yeah, slicer. And so it's basically just a gas can on there, but it's radioactive fuel to fuel this guy.
You can see the
for
light
the slicer
shining
dome.
out of
Golden
it.
gas can.
So you can see
Crazy.
the level 7 ones were rare to get. You could get like packs
It was $50.
of disc. Usually you would get 2 in each, but the crazy thing was you wouldn't get your elemental one usually with the one
Yes.
you got. It's very rare to get that. So that could be a little frustrating, but it would make you want to buy more.
The Throwbots would come
collectability
with a
aspect.
disc for the main one that you had in your canister, and then it would come with a disc for another Throwbot.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what other rare discs do we have here? We just talked about this gas
so
can.
let's go ahead and go over that real quick.
Honestly, until probably the last year or two, I didn't know there was such a thing as rare discs.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
they were all worthless.
So 99.9% of Throwbot discs and RoboRiders stuff is worth pennies. It is worthless.
Not even like less than $1. We're talking less than
Yes.
25, 50 cents.
Most of them, there's not really a market for it.
Yeah.
Now, there are a select few robot discs that were either from promotional packs or were from, well, we actually don't know.
Yeah.
It's the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a mystery.
But so we have the gas can, which is a pretty crazy one. I mean, a $50 disc is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wild.
and like most of the Bionicle things, there are collectors out there who want
all of them.
the full set.
Yeah.
And to get the full set, you have to find these
And-
rare ones.
I mean, it costs you nothing to get like a full set of Throwbot discs
Yeah.
until you find the last like
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have the 7-pip like 5-point crystal.
Yeah.
And
This is cool.
this one's really cool. This is one that is around like $30 to $50 depending on condition.
That's crazy.
It's it's not known what set it came from, if it was from a promotional pack or
Yeah.
anything like that.
And you just found this one today,
Yep.
right? So we'll make sure we get this online before this video
one was just
comes
found
out.
today. It will be put online, and we also this one was found a couple days ago. But
Yeah,
this is
so-
one a 7-pip disc for a Judge, and it is like it almost looks like a Bionicle Zamor sphere being held by an octopus.
I was going to say
with
a
this?
Dragon
No,
Ball.
We don't know.
That too, but yeah, it's like this weird like tentacle holding like an energy orb.
Yeah.
crazy.
And this is another like $40 disc.
That's crazy.
It is you wouldn't ever think it, but I mean every Lego theme has something like that in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Throwbots are weird. They're interesting. I like the color schemes of them a lot. They came with like a lot of cool colors and different pieces and stuff.
Honestly, my first introduction to this I remember my older brother having Scuba, which is
nice.
I just think a really cool one. I mean,
He
he's
is.
underwater, obviously. He's got a little propeller that comes out of his back, which I think is cool. And he's got this like rubbery tube that's like a breathing hose or something.
That's cool.
The face is kind of weird. He looks like a dog, but like a cyber dog. Kind of crazy.
Whoops.
Garrett's got that dog in him.
I
He
can't
can't
help it.
He can't help it. But this was the first one I remember ever seeing, and so I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for him.
I love how they have minifigure weapons. It looks.
I agree.
They're so
Yeah.
small.
Because I've
They're a
always
little out of
liked
scale.
Amazon
Yeah.
because he just has a katana.
Little katana, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, there's really not a whole lot I would say.
Oh, we got to talk about Wave 2. What
Yes,
happened. 'Cause that's the
I'm
best part
wrapping
of
up
the
Wave
story.
1
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's really all the Slicers do is they live in their
Yeah.
regions and then they go to the Slicer Dome and they go.
They throw their discs at each other.
Yeah, and they go.
Let's talk about these containers that they came in before we move on to Wave 2, I think, because I think that's worth talking about.
So, first, let's go ahead and just say I will be recreating the photo of the kid in the promotional pictures who has like 16 of these strapped onto him.
He's like Chewbacca with like the
Yes,
bandoliers.
He has bandoliers. He has an armband with one. He has them all on his belt.
Coolest kid in school.
So
Absolutely.
the Throwbot canisters, or so actually in the lore, these are spaceships.
That's so
okay. Yeah.
Yep, there actually is
That's cool.
a disc right here. We'll get a better picture of this that shows that it is a flying craft.
I see. So these are the headlights
Yeah,
on the
that's
front,
incredible.
I guess, and the exhaust ports in the back.
And so you can kind of.
Yeah.
But the main part of them is a storage container. It has a belt loop, so you can strap these onto things.
Yeah.
Inside,
So you can
are,
keep that thing on you.
You keep that thing on.
Yeah.
Inside, there are little slots to actually hold the discs, so you can have a collection of them.
That's nice.
And then the worst part of these, in my opinion, is
The lid just falls off when you open
they
it.
do not
Yeah.
stay together
Yeah.
very well. It's let's see if I can get close on it. It's literally just a very, very thin lip of plastic on just a rounded piece. So it doesn't really ever click in to place as well.
Yeah.
But apparently the LEGO group knew about that and decided to do something about it without saying anything.
That's great.
Because now there are 2 different mold variants of these.
That's so interesting.
And it is not stated anywhere on Bricklink or anything else I can find.
Yeah. I assume it was just the bottom piece.
It is just the bottom. There is no like documented like different part.
Yeah.
But so I grabbed 2 of the exact same canister, and you can see one of them has these extra ridges on the sides.
Yeah.
And that just helps hold that lid on. I just think it's super weird how that's not known.
Yeah, it just keeps it from opening past 90 degrees, basically, when the original design, if you open it further than that, it just causes itself to come off.
Mm-hmm. But even on Bricklink, there's not like 2 different...
Which is surprising, because Bricklink is very good about stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's just what caught me off guard. Though.
Yeah. A nice redesign, well worthwhile, I would say. There's some other cool features on here. I like that the front has like the hand or the claw holding like the giant disc.
That old Technic font on it.
And on the back as well, there's like some Technic pieces, which I imagine would probably stick to pins if you tried.
You could probably put a stud in there.
Yeah.
I also really love how it says name, and you can write your name on your Throwbot.
Yeah, because everybody knows that Bionicle kids are the ones whose mom probably wrote their name in the waistbands of all their pairs of underwear. So you write your name on your Throwbots before you take them to school on your belt. In case you lose them, everybody will know they're yours.
Can you imagine being a kid in like maybe 5th grade in 1999, Throwbotting it with your boys?
Yeah, out on the playground.
Out on the playground at a recess.
Yeah, and then getting beaten up and having your lunch money taken.
Having your Throwbot taken.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be the worst.
A little monkey in the middle with your Throwbot.
Just real quick before we move on, I do want to go ahead and just give you all the names for all the original Throwbots.
Yes, yeah.
We have Torch, the fire one. We have Ski, the ice.
Yeah.
We have Granite, our like desert guy. Amazon.
That's a cool one too. The tan and gray.
He has like the pickaxes on top.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Amazon is the teal one. Electro is a purple one with like wings. Jet is our yellow other flying one, and then Scuba is our water guy.
Nice. Very good.
Pretty good names, pretty basic, but
very cool. Let's see. Oh gosh, should we talk about
Wave
the
2?
Yeah, go and talk about
which
Wave 2.
one of those do you like the most, Daniel?
Scuba.
Scuba?
It's the one I have a soft
Well,
spot
too
for.
bad, Daniel. He's
Wrong.
dead. He is dead.
Why is he
Everything
dead?
changed
Because
when the asteroid
an
attacked.
asteroid has hit. Hold up. Wait, I gotta.
Would it have mattered which one I said? Did they all die?
They all
There was
dead.
an extinction event.
Let me pull it out.
Imagine the meeting for this.
On New Year's Eve, a mysterious meteor
Year's
hits
Eve.
the Throwbot planet. The powerful collision creates a giant crater, and out of the crater climb 4 fantastic new Throwbots. Can anyone or
Half the planet
anything
is
stop
gone.
them?
Oh my gosh! Everybody knows
There's
that
gotta be a picture of this.
the key to a great sequel is killing off all your favorite characters from the original.
And I love how
we
there
can
is a
introduce new
disc
ones.
that shows the
Yes.
meteor hitting. There is a separate disc that shows the meteor impacting.
We may have it, yeah.
I don't have it. I looked for it.
Okay.
It shows like the planet like splitting.
It's wild.
He's
Like,
dead.
It's half
Yeah.
gone. Wild.
Okay, well, tell me about Wave 2 then. Who we got in the lineup for Wave 2?
Got some cool ones. Do you want to go over the?
So Wave 2 is definitely my favorite out of all the Throwbots.
Here they are.
They're they realized what they did with Wave 1 and were like, some of that's a little goofy.
Yeah.
Some of it's a little odd. And the Wave 2 Throwbots, all of them are like really good. They're the best Throwbots out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who we got here in the lineup, Alex?
We have Blaster, we've got Flare, Spark, and Millennium. I mean, these days it's another, another level here.
Only 4 though. So the original was 8, and then they
Hey, not everybody could survive the asteroid and become mutant. So
I guess, yeah, mutant slicers. Wow. All right. So what's special about some of these guys here?
I'm going to start with Torch. Torch is my favorite. What's his name? Flare?
Yeah,
Flare. Yeah, sorry, Torch was Wave 1.
Yes. He's awesome. I just like the way he looks. So cool. I love his like face print with like the gas mask with like fire in the eyes.
That's so cool.
Really cool. I like how the arm can like be at any angle.
That's really
like
nice.
Wherever, so you can throw it from anywhere.
It's also attached to the worm gear
and
part,
then
so you have to spin.
They learned because instead of using this tiny little gear, you can just do this now.
Crank the there you go. It's kind of like an
really,
Allen wrench or something. There you
and
go.
really get him going.
Now it's going. Okay.
Now you can fly. That's
So he's cool for that reason, but also, would you believe it if I told you these Technic panels are set exclusive?
I would believe
No
that.
way. Wow.
I would believe that because these more complex panels weren't around for all that long. I think
maybe like 6 years.
They were in a lot of like Technic cars and stuff because these bigger holes you could put like the flexible tubing down in them, I think, and it just kind of friction fits down in there. It's kind of interesting.
But I think that just really adds to him. He's a cool looking one in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then he has an orange canister, which is really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, orange is one of my favorite colors. He's nice.
Yeah, those are definitely more uncommon than Wave 1 and Wave 2.
Something else we didn't really talk about either. The head pieces for all of the Throwbots were also used as the feet pieces in a lot of the like buildable characters at the time period. So think like the Star Wars, like the C-3PO or the Darth Vader. They were the feet, and then they had these like visor pieces that went on that actually had the faces printed on them, which is pretty.
And then there are some of the Throwbots use like the Technic like figure visors.
Yes, yeah, it's the same width there. Yes, yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, cool integration between the Lego system and then this new system.
For sure. Who else we got here? So that was Flare, Blaster, and Spark. Anything special with that?
Spark is another. He came in the same canister as Electro, another purple and black one.
Gotcha.
That one is again more expensive just because of the purple Bionicle pieces that come in it. It has a arm that is purple. That's the only set that's ever come in.
That's really cool.
That's notable. Blaster's pretty notable because that is one of only 2 Throwbots to not come in a canister.
Okay.
Blaster is about that big.
Oh my gosh.
He is essentially like a double Throwbot.
Oh yeah, he's massive.
He's
like a Titan, basically.
Yeah, he's essentially like the first like contraction Titan figure. But he's like that big. He's got really cool articulation.
Good lord.
Yeah, he's got like a big staff for his discs.
A staff with 2 throwing arms on it.
Yeah. So he's really cool.
His legs are like double articulated. Wow, that's crazy. That's cool.
So we like him. He's a cool one.
All right, but I think saving the best for last. I want to talk about Millennium.
I think we should
talk about him.
Yeah.
So cool.
Because
what's special about Millennium?
Well, first off, he's got a sick bike.
He's got a Roadhog.
He's got a Roadhog.
Look at that. Oh man, cruising up Planet Slizer to the Battle Dome.
Insane.
On the chopper.
I love that because this is a standard like Technic motorcycle that they released as a set. But then they throw this.
They probably were developing it as a set, and somebody said, "Hey, you can fit a Throwbot on this," and they were like, "Great, throw the whole thing in a box."
They said, "Oh, did you know the throw arm you can force it over a Technic piece like that?"
They are the softer plastic, so it's probably kind of fudged a little bit to get it to hold on to it.
Millennium's really cool. He was Millennium or Millennia. Were the separate names. It came out in 2000. I wonder how he got that name.
Yeah, Y2K. Very futuristic.
But he's really cool just for the bike reasons. He's very much just like another Flare build.
Yeah. Almost. Yeah, he's got the big wing pieces. Yeah.
Almost the same as that. What's really cool with him though is he introduces some of the first painted gold pieces that Lego's ever done. I think it was the first.
I'm trying to remember why were we talking about this? I think we did a rare parts video,
and we were talking about the headpiece
and the headpiece.
So these are the first hand painted, or not hand painted, but these are the first like drum lacquered metallic gold pieces that Lego ever did.
So I confirmed this by going to the Lego color guide and looking at all the sets that metallic gold or metallic silver pieces came in and sorting by year. And this was the first by a few years.
Wow.
And you can tell because the drum lacquering is a little bit different than what we get by modern standards. It almost has like they applied some sort of like
almost like a
waxy
varnish.
protective finish or something over the top of it, like a plastic coating, because it's more glossy than what we get nowadays, which is a little bit more of a matte finish. They just do the drum lacquering and call it a day. This one, I think they put some sort of protective layer over it to give it that shiny kind of Lego ABS quality.
They're also, it's the same as how they do it now. They're tan pieces.
Correct. Yeah. So a little bit of interesting piece of Lego history there is what I found. The most interesting about Millennium here. But everybody likes shiny stuff. So
Millennium also has a combination, or not a combination, an alternate build to where you can integrate the bike into him. Yeah. And he has like big like tire feet.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's a pretty cool one, but it's way cooler to have him on a Roadhog, I mean.
Yeah.
And all these had combination models as well, like
yes,
either two or like half the waves and stuff.
The super Throwbots, if you will.
It's really cool. They had posters of them to kind of encourage people to collect all of them.
There you go. Poster included and instructions for Supermodel. So there was one from Wave 1 where you could combine Torch, Ski, Turbo, and Scuba into this one. And then I would imagine, there you go. So the other 4, Jet, Amazon, Granite, and Electro could be combined into that one.
So cool.
So out of the 8, the 2 pairings of 4 could be combined into Supermodel. Now, was there a Super Duper model where you could combine all 8 into one?
So no, but you could combine Blaster, Spark, and
the Wave 2 ones into one?
Into like a big guy.
That's cool. That's cool.
I did, however, just find our disc with the Planet Slicer
What?
on it.
Where are you finding all these discs? Where are these coming from?
There is the we'll get a better picture.
Let me see that back.
But that is the actual division of it.
Divided into 8 segments for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 7 segments.
When you're 4,000 light years away from Earth, it looks a little
It's only in
different.
7 segments. Why would there only be 7 segments if there were 8 Throwbots? Who's missing?
Who's missing?
I don't know.
One of them judges like in the center, I think, because he ruled presides
he ruled
over
the battle
dome, basically.
Okay,
so he
that
watches
makes sense.
the fights.
Judge was which one? That was the European.
He's the
model.
yellow.
He's also known as Jet. Yeah.
Okay. So he
He's
flies
kinda like,
over the battle dome, I guess, and judges it, I guess.
How many pips do we have on that?
Right. So there were what you said there were 7 pips.
There was
the maximum that you
one
ever
to
got,
7.
right?
That's
1 to
the
7, and then you can
right?
you can just apparently change
That's
the
the
rules.
one that
And
Judge would
so
have.
this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Wow,
8
that's the
pips.
one. Yeah.
This has 8
Only
pips.
Judge
Filled the meter.
was
So,
supposed to have that.
Yeah.
8's the most you could ever have, right?
And it is. And then Millennium also comes with this
power.
cool gold disc.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many
And
pips you got on
this
there?
has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9.
Ah,
Wow. Wave
interesting.
2 went to another level.
So I guess when the planet exploded and they all got mutated by radioactive gasoline, they just grew another pip on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
okay.
those Throwbots growing pips.
Yeah, we just changed the rules. That's so classic. Like oh really? Yours has 8 pips. Well,
Over 9,000.
mine has 9 pips.
Exactly.
I can beat your maximum 8 pip disc with my 9 pip.
But yeah, I mean that's a very that's what there is to Throwbots.
That's fantastic.
There are
so much
discs.
to it.
There are wacky pieces. There is a story.
Yeah.
I think.
Lord.
I think.
There's one more thing I want to cover with Throwbots slash Slizers, which was to do with the marketing aspect. So Christian Faber also shared on his Instagram and a few other places one of the concepts for the Slizer vending machine.
Yeah, we needed that.
Which we have Lego vending machines nowadays, but this was unheard of at the time.
Way ahead of its time.
You can see this crazy art on the side here with Torch and this crazy fire scene. And I mean, it looks like the background box art for
Pretty much.
for a
It's like
Bionicle,
buying
basically.
a soda. Just buy a slicer.
But yeah, you've got this great vending machine. It says Slizer, it says Technic, and it says $5.99 right on the front there. So these were pretty affordable, I guess, for
I mean, yeah.
for the time period. And then some other cool concept art here as well. We'll throw up these images. You got Torch in
Looks
this
like
crazy
Mordor.
erupting volcanic. Yeah, it does look like Mordor. You look, there's the Balrog too.
it is.
You got a Balrog in there. And then over here, what was the jungle?
Amazon jungle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's like cutting in half the trees from like the Wizard of Oz. They're like these spooky trees with evil eyes and mouths and hands and stuff. So, Planet Slicer is a scary place apparently. Yeah, pretty scary. All right, I think that's going to round us out for Slicers and Throwbots. Now, we already talked about Millennium riding this pretty crazy Roadhog motorcycle there.
Mm-hmm.
So, the next theme that LEGO decided to come out with was RoboRiders, which was basically all about motorcycles.
What if the motorcycles were the robots?
Yeah.
This is wild because the concept for this was it was robots that had actual human brains that could ride around. So
crazy.
It's cyborg, but it's like human brains. Like
Gross.
This is another level here.
Yeah.
I've got a little excerpt to read real quick.
Oh
for
yeah.
RoboRiders.
Please.
This is pretty much the story we get for RoboRiders.
Okay.
A monster virus is on the loose. A monster virus
no.
is on the loose on the web, and it comes in 6 different forms. Nobody knows how it got on the loose, but only you can stop it. To defeat the virus, you need the RoboRiders. Collect all the RoboRiders and track down the virus on its 6 treacherous forms. Under your command, each RoboRider is constructed, trained, and equipped to detect and destroy.
Hey, where were
This
these
is-
in 2020?
This is also very
That's what we
peak,
needed.
like, early 2000s, like, Y2K, like,
Yeah.
fear
Yeah.
of technology and the internet.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, the virus, like Cyber Chase. You ever watch
Exactly.
Cyber Chase?
It's
And
more of a
you got
computer virus.
the villain hacker, and, yeah, that's crazy. It's such a snapshot in time. Fascinating. Who is this I've got here? This lime green and turquoise guy.
You've got Swamp right
Swamp.
there.
Swamp.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, look.
Very
Oh,
simple
sorry.
name.
Silly me. They printed it right on his
Yes.
forehead.
Hey, it's okay.
This is like the equivalent of like cartoon characters like having their initial right on
Exactly.
the front of their T-shirt. He's got his
So
name
cheesy.
tattooed on his forehead. Cool. All right, who else did we have from RoboRiders, Alex?
Yeah, so we had Swamp there. We also had Lava, the fire one, Frost, the ice, Onyx, the rock one, Dust, the earth, and then Power was more of that city kind of element that they had in the robots.
So basically the same color scheme even for all of them. I mean, obviously because it's elemental, there's going to be overlap. Fascinating. Was it really? That's it for lore for this?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
actually,
is
there
there
is
more?
a second story as well. Besides like the monster virus, there were other missions. It was very simple. It was just going through an obstacle track and without getting destroyed. Simple. Just don't get
Through an obstacle.
blown up on this
course?
track, and I guess you can like level up that way.
Was it like
it's
a
like different
VR
missions.
training thing or something?
I don't know,
like
'cause
a Ninja Turtles training course kind of thing.
I wonder if it had anything to do with like the online game that they had, because on each canister
Maybe.
Yeah.
there was a code, which was really cool because
Oh, we got to
they-
talk about this.
you had to put it in the fridge for 10 minutes, and it would reveal the code on there. I just imagine a parent going into the kitchen and there's all their food on the ground, and their kids have like all the
There's Lego
canisters in it. What are you
canisters.
doing? I'm trying to get the code.
We tried one of these.
None
here
of them
at
work
work.
anymore.
Yeah, whatever
What a shame.
chemical activation I think has not
Yeah.
stood the test of time very well. But LEGO loves to do gimmicky stuff like this. I mean, we get a lot of heat activated things, and then like you were talking about with Bionicle, there was
Yeah.
like a sleeve that you would
it
rotate
was like a
to
double
reveal it.
sleeve.
Yeah, I think as far as I know, this is one of the only cold activated things
Yeah.
that LEGO ever did. So very unique in that sense. I don't know if there was like a lore tie-in with that. If the RoboRiders
They're
planet
freezing out
was
the
very
virus.
cold or something. Yeah, freezing virus. I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
But a very interesting gimmicky aspect there of the packaging nonetheless. Very cool. Very cool. What else do we have to talk about RoboRiders?
Do you want to talk about their gimmick play
yeah.
feature?
Yeah, let's
talk
talk about the
about
play
that.
feature for sure.
So almost all of the RoboRiders can be essentially folded into like a handle position.
Gun.
And then the front wheel pulls out of the.
That's crazy.
With this very specialized piece.
Yeah.
It's a specialized
It's
like
like
a
a
rubber
flexible-
piece,
Yeah.
and it opens up,
That's crazy.
and then you're able to
There it goes.
Or
you got
even
me.
bend it the other way and try to throw it, but it
Wow.
doesn't work that way.
No, not a great play feature.
It is very,
Yeah.
very strange. But that was kind of the collectible aspect to RoboRiders. Is there are
Wheels.
tons of these different wheel elements that you can switch out and use, and they all have different, like slightly different molds
Yeah,
and prints on them.
right.
Those
All
prints
of them
so
are
good.
like little dudes, and they all have names.
That's amazing.
Little dudes, little guys.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll find a picture of, because there's like a spread that has all of them on it.
They
But-
really were all different molds. That's
Yeah.
crazy
They're-
because they're like shaped, they're contoured to what's printed on
Yes,
them.
exactly.
Oh my gosh, how many new molds must they have had to come out with?
And
for
that's
this?
what's crazy about it.
So many.
It's
Yeah.
because it's at least
Oh my
it's at least
gosh.
I think 15.
That's insane.
But I mean, there's all sorts of different colors. There's glow in the dark ones.
Yeah.
There are some
well,
rare
there were
ones
there
of
were.
these.
I mean, I assume this was a glow in the
That
dark
is,
Throwbots
yes.
disc as well. So they had done that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think overall the wheels were a cooler mold than the Throwbots discs, but as far as the play feature aspect, of course the disc
Yeah.
worked better.
And these were sold in supplemental packs.
Yeah.
I actually have a couple sealed
cool.
packs
Wow.
of these,
Yeah.
which is super
That's
weird.
cool.
I don't know if the collectability aspect ended up being nearly as cool as
It's
the
not
discs,
as much.
but
The printing is cool. It's just
Yeah.
not as good as like some of the discs.
yeah.
So
Very
it's
nice.
super weird. RoboRiders is definitely, this is where we saw. I mean, the canister started here.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
This is where we
we're
got the
starting to
Bionicle
look like
canister design.
Bionicle at this point.
Yes, yeah, they did migrate from the Galador spaceships over to the canisters.
And I think I honestly prefer how these canisters are used.
yeah.
Alex, do you want to talk on that?
Because they're not just canisters; they also have function as well. So the lid, you could do combination models with these, and often in the combination models, these would be your wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Or
so it was
it'd be
like a big
shield.
It
Yeah.
was like a
Just
big
be
RoboRider.
your wheel or shield or
Mhm.
something like
Wow.
that, which is really cool function for
Mhm.
something that otherwise wouldn't use. I mean, in Bionicle, that first wave, you would use it to put your mask on of the different,
Exactly.
different kinds and stuff like that.
Sure.
That would be in the village, but I like the play function of this lid in particular.
Very cool, very cool. I think that about does it
For
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
wheels. There are some rare ones out there.
See, I didn't even know
There's
that.
the gold ones are rare, but also like the transparent, fluorescent reddish orange ones are
Ooh,
rare
okay,
as well. I'm
yes.
not sure pricing on any of this.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
just those are just the harder ones to find.
Yeah.
They may be cheap. They could be expensive. I'm not sure. I mean, it's interesting. They're all in the same team. It's not like good versus bad or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I think this one wasn't as popular as Throwbots
No.
Slicers, and that
Yeah.
may be one of the reasons, among other things. But some people see this as like a filler in between working on Throwbots and then on to Bionicle. But it surprisingly has its own story and stuff like that. But it wasn't as successful.
It was
for sure
not nearly
Throwbots,
as fleshed out.
Yeah,
I think
that
between the lack of lore and the I would say worse play features, I would
Yeah.
say they were a little less successful. But they did both pave the way for Bionicle,
Absolutely. Yeah.
which is kind of our overarching theme here. So let's talk about kind of what carried over into Bionicle
Yeah.
from these two themes here. We obviously already talked about the canisters. So
Yeah, really set
Lego
that
must
up.
have seen in testing that kids were latching onto this packaging more than something like the spaceships here. That I mean, they came in boxes anyway, so you weren't really seeing the spaceship besides this little cutout window here. So I think people really liked the canisters. But what other kind of stuff did we see carry over into Bionicle?
I think just a lot of general piece usage. I mean, this
Yeah.
leg part was
Yeah.
used in Bionicle for I couldn't tell you how many years.
I mean,
And-
the standard socket piece
Yeah.
here. I don't even know, when did that piece go out? I mean, they redesigned it several times.
Mhm.
It was for
But
a
I mean,
long
this
time.
is pretty much where a lot of core Bionicle construction started. This is where we get our gear functions. This is where we get, honestly, this is where we get our main color lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks
And
good
then
over.
with RoboRiders, that's where we get our packaging from,
Yeah.
of everything. These two themes, without them, Bionicle may have looked very, very different.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Lego was already testing out the collectability aspect of stuff.
The collectability, the elemental
Mhm.
powers
Yeah, the big
aspect,
part, yeah.
the canisters like we mentioned,
Mhm.
just the system of building with the ball joints. So you can see where all those foundational elements for Bionicle came from. And they looked back at both of these themes and they said what worked and what didn't, and they consolidated it and they came up with a really powerful lore story for Bionicle, and it paid off in dividends, clearly, which was fantastic.
There are people still making 13-hour videos on Bionicle lore. There are not a lot of people making Throwbot videos.
No, there are not. But we are one of them.
But hey,
we are here.
So there you go. We talked about the parts, the canisters, and lore. Anything else we want to talk about that carried over into Bionicle's success?
That really helps Bionicle be successful was Lego doing like the Flash games, like the online games. On the canister, it's like, oh, here's a code. Go type this in online. So of course, every kid would go, either at home if there was a computer, because that was new. But even at school, I remember we had like those big box computers, a computer lab, and we had a certain amount of time in elementary school to go into the computer lab just to play these like Flash games on sites like Lego. So having that with like the RoboRiders, and then that was a part of Bionicle. So then that way the kids knew the story, they saw different characters and things and would want that, and got into it really through things like that, the online platform.
This
so
is
we
where
saw
Lego
that kind of
tested
start
out
here.
a lot of like story from external sources.
Right. Well, so in a sense, like with something like Throwbots or RoboRiders, the storytelling was supplemental to the product, but I think they realized that it was so powerful. With Bionicle, it was almost like the product was supplemental to the storytelling. I mean, there were movies, there were games, there were comics, there were computer discs that you could get and do all kinds of stuff. So
books, you name it.
Yeah, books, sure. So it's almost like the storytelling came first, and the product was then to sell that. So yeah, very, very cool the way that Lego realized the power of lore and storytelling, and I think most of that can be attributed to Christian Faber.
I agree.
Which is
very instrumental.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else we want to talk about here for any of these themes before we do the wrap-up?
If you like Bionicle and you have no interest in this, I recommend you pick up a Throwbot or a RoboRider.
Yeah, it's a part of Lego history.
At least have one in the collection. There's some weird things with it. It's cool to have on the shelf next to your Tahoe.
Absolutely.
And you can get all these great offerings on atlbrick.com.
That's right.
Yeah, they're very affordable. Pretty good prices.
Unless you're trying to buy a gas can.
Unless you're looking at the ribs. But
that's right.
No, your standard Throwbot will run you, maybe $20, if that.
Yeah. But there you go. There is our history, our Lego deep dive of Throwbots / Slizers and RoboRiders as they paved the road into Lego Bionicle. So thank you all for joining us for this episode of Between the Studs. Please leave a like on this video, or if you're listening to it on one of our audio platforms, consider leaving us a review. We would really appreciate it. But thank you all for joining us on this episode of Between the Studs, and we will see y'all next time. Take care, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Bye.